In this video, we're gonna break down Pes Planus Syndrome, what it is and what to look for inside of your static postural assessment. So when it comes to the Pes Planus Syndrome, what we're talking about is this collapsing of the arches and this knock knee or this knee valgus effect. So I know it's not natural for Jess to do it, but Jess, if you don't mind kind of collapsing those feet in. Now, when we're doing our static postural assessment, this ends up being the first place that we look, and one of our three most common postural distortion syndromes inside the NASM textbook and terminology is this Pes Planus Syndrome. And the Pes Planus, kind of a weird, funny term, but just refers to the collapsing of this arch. All right, so for individuals who may have flatter feet or that rolled in effect, that impacts the stability at the foot and obviously is going to impact everything else up the kinetic chain. So normally what we're going to see is we're going to see collapsing of the arches. You'll also see this adduction, right? Knee valgus, which is the knees adducting in and even internally rotating a little bit, all right? So those will be the primary things that we're looking for. Now this is going to have an impact as we move into exercises like squats and also single leg moves like lunges, because the alignment of this foot and knee and hip is really important for us to be engaging the right muscles. So as for our potential overactive areas, right, these muscles that may have too much signal going to them that we're gonna wanna calm down and work on better mobility, well, we have a couple of areas. First, our calves, this gastroc and soleus. If we have overactivity in those muscles, it makes it more challenging for us. That can potentially pull us into this unstable position and collapsing inside the foot. Same thing with our adductors, our adductor complex, that inner thigh, right? We have attachment here on the internal border, the medial border of our femur, and then up into our pelvic and our pubic bones. That can pull us in as well. On top of that, also potentially our hip flexors. Any three of these areas could be an overactive muscle group. We're not gonna know just from the static postural assessment, but it's something that we can look for with some of our movement assessments. And then similar, right? If we see these things show up in some of our other assessments, like our overhead squat solutions table with the overhead squat and knees caving in, similar muscles may also be underactive. If we have overactivity in the gastroc and soleus, that may mean underactivity in our shin muscles, our anterior tibialis and posterior tibialis, as the coordination, right? The activation of these muscles and our calves, that's gonna help us control foot position. So we may have underactivity in those muscles. We also might have underactivity in our glute medius and glute max. So the easy solution for these things is we figure, what do we do with this once we find out this information and we see it inside of our overhead squat and our other movement assessments, is we simply say, how can we figure out what muscles may be a little bit overactive, and let's try to down-regulate that signal. Might be a little bit of myofascial release, some foam rolling, maybe some dynamic mobility exercises like those calf muscles and the adductors. And then the opposite side, we say, how can we turn on and get more signals going to those underactive muscles like the shins and the glutes.